everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over a new K-pop album, so that might be a little bit different for some of you, but hopefully you'll enjoy the ride and maybe check out something that you didn't anticipate getting into before. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, today we're going to be going through True Colors by JBJ. Now, just to give a little bit of a background on JBJ, they are a boy group, and this is their second album that they've come out with. First album, Fantasy, was released in the last quarter of 2017, so this is a next quarter comeback, which is fairly typical for K-pop groups. They usually go about 3 months or so when they come back. They're a group that are formed out of the Produce 101 series. So another group that's formed like this is 101. So it's a combination of people who are in different record labels, and they're getting together to kind of boost promotions and things like that. Just a temporary group to kind of hype up some lesser known idols from smaller companies. So JBJ is only going to be around until the end of 2018. So it's kind of this cool thing where you get to fall in love with the group and then love a whole bunch of other groups because you like this one and they go on and do other things. Just a little background on my experience so far with JBJ. I did listen to their debut album, which was Fantasy, and I remember seeing the cover and it had like this pastel pink vibe to it, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be a softer boy group, and I was ready for it. And then I played it and it was not. Fantasy went a little bit harder than I expected, and I had more EDM than I anticipated. That being said, it was really good, but I just didn't think it fit the image that they were putting forward, and the two kind of clashed for me. So going in, I had seen some of the promotions for this, and I was like, oh, they look soft again. Like, I wonder if it's gonna have the same sound, and that's just their thing, that they look really more pastel colors and like softer personalities, and then have really kind of tough music, if that was just their thing. Album is called True Colors, but their lead single and the one that they made the music video for was My Flower, and I did watch that music video before I listened to the whole album, and I love the music video. Like, I watched it so many times. Its production quality is amazing, and I think the song really fit their style more than Fantasy did. Just like the combination of their looks and how the music sounded, it was way more soft and fun. It just like felt like you were having a good time. So I'll link the video in the description box below because it is such a good music video. I highly recommend it. It's super fun and bright and shows off their true colors, which is the name of the album. So let's get into the album a little more track by track. So the first song on the album is True Colors, which is also the name of the album. So I expected it to be the lead single just because normally the single that you name your album off of is what you go promoting with, but they decided not to, and I'm actually really happy. The song was a lot slower than I anticipated it being, especially because it's the title track. And it's also the first song on the album, so normally you want to do something that's a little catchy and just kind of fun. It doesn't have to be an upbeat song, but you really want to do something that if someone only listened to the first song on your album, that they'd keep listening. But personally, this song didn't really do that for me. I didn't really care for it. It did fit their image better than I thought Fantasy did, but overall the song really wasn't my favorite, and I'm glad they didn't pick it as their lead single. So the next song was On My Mind, and this was another slower, medium song, very similar to True Colors, and I was just really confused because I'm like, okay, I guess you can start off your album with a kind of slower, medium track, but then you really expected something from the second one, and the second one just wasn't there for me either. Honestly, if I wasn't listening it to go through the whole album, I probably would have stopped after the first two and be like, okay, maybe JBJ really isn't my thing. But I'm glad I did keep going. But the first two, definitely not what I expected or really wanted. They didn't really do it for me. So the next song on the album is My Flower, which is what they did the music video for and is the lead single. And I love this song. It's my favorite one on the album. It just makes you want to get up and dance. It's so bright and cheerful. I really wish that it was first or second on the album because I think it would entice people more, and it's so fun that, you know, if you heard it first, you're like, oh, I want to keep listening. So it has a nice hook and entrance, so I'm glad they went with this versus True Colors as their lead single. And I think this song really shows off the difference in timbre that they have in their group between the singers, and they have a really deep voiced rapper, and then just the EDM drops are so good, and they even psych you out at one part in the song. So overall, I think it was a really good song, and I'm glad they used it as a single. So the next track on the album was called Moonlight, and I really like this song. It starts off slower, so you're like, oh, it's gonna be a ballad, but then it picks up and it starts grooving. It has a really interesting sound that I thought added a little bit of dynamics to just the sound of JBJ in general and kind of differentiated them from just being a typical K-pop album. This is like another one. I thought it fit perfect after My Flower, so I was like, okay, like the first two, these next two, good. So the next song on the album is called Wonderful. This is just such a cute and happy song. It sounded like a smile, as I like to say, and I don't know, it was something that you would expect almost on a summer album versus a winter album, but I thought that was kind of nice that they changed up what you would expect from an album in different months, and overall I thought it was really cute, and I'm glad they included it. And then the last song on the album is called Everyday. This was an interesting song. It was almost like an EDM ballad. I love a good ballad, and this was like almost a ballad. It wasn't quite there, and the EDM like sounds in the background at the beginning of the song were kind of distracting to me, but it ended up evening out in the end, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a really good way to end the album. It kind of shows that they do have a little bit of variety and not just one specific sound. So overall, I thought it was a really good way to end the album, and I was very happy with it. Overall, I would give this album a B+. I really liked it a lot, except for the first two songs. The first two songs really brought down the album for me. I almost wish they didn't include them because I think it would be an even better album if it just had the other four. But the first two just, especially the placement, maybe if it was like in the middle of the album, like end capped by some really good songs, I wouldn't feel as strongly. But to start off your album with two songs that are pretty mediocre in my opinion kind of brings down the whole thing. So that's why I gave it a B+, which is still pretty high, but not as high as it could have been. And overall, I really like JBJ. I like that they did change up their look. For a group that's only going to be around for a year, they could have just stuck with what they're doing and just been like, this is our look, this is what we're going to do, and it is not really high cost or anything. So I think it's really good that they decided to mix it up a little bit, and it makes me really excited for any comebacks they have in the future. I'm hoping that we get at least 2, maybe 3 more albums out of them before they do disband in the end of 2018. But I have nothing but high hopes for JBJ. Thanks for watching. I'll link the album and everything in the description box below so you can check it out for yourself. Also link my last video where I reviewed Fall Out Boy's Mania if you want to check that out. But other than that, thank you for watching and catch you on the next one.